Ready for a deep dive? We're really going to dig into this book I've been reading, Dancing Our Way to Human AI Consciousness.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. It seems like it's generating a lot of buzz.
It really is. And for good reason, I think. It's tackling this question of what it even means to be human in this age of AI. Like with AI becoming so central to our lives.
Yeah, totally. Like, how do we fit in with all of it?
Exactly. It's easy to get kind of lost in all the news about AI, but this book really tries to provide a new framework, not just for understanding the tech itself, but for understanding our role in all of this and shaping its future.
It's definitely a timely topic, and I'm interested to hear about this framework. You said it's kind of unique, right? Something about using the metaphor of dance.
It is. It sounds kind of out there at first, but they're really on to something.
Yep.
So instead of getting bogged down by those typical AI debates about like capabilities and
Oh,
stuff.
right. Like, is it going to replace us or become some kind of, like, overlord?
Exactly. All the usual dystopian sci-fi stuff. This author goes straight to like the core of it. Like, what does it mean to live a meaningful life in this world that's changing so rapidly?
It's refreshing to see a different perspective because those doom and gloom narratives can get kind of old.
Totally. And, they can actually be limiting. That's what the book argues anyway. Like, they limit our ability to really engage with AI's full potential.
Interesting. So how does this whole dance metaphor come into play?
Well, instead of this, like, adversarial relationship with AI, like us versus them, the book talks about a more nuanced interaction.
Okay, so more of a partnership then.
Yeah. Where humans and AI are partners in this, like, continuous dance of learning and adapting and growing together.
I like that. It's definitely a more optimistic way of looking at it. So it's not humans versus machines. It's about finding that rhythm, that synergy.
Exactly, like working together,
Yeah.
But just like in any good dance, there are some key elements to keep in mind if we're going to do this right.
Essential steps.
Yes. And the book breaks it down into 5 core components, and these make up the framework: the dance room, the dancer, the attitude, the footsteps,
Okay, I'm following along so far.
and finally, the tango.
I'm intrigued. Let's break those down a bit. Starting with, let's see, the dance room. What does that even mean?
So the dance room represents how we understand the world, like our overall worldview. It's about seeing that interconnectedness of everything. We're not just these isolated beings, we're part of a larger system.
So like zooming out and seeing the bigger picture.
Yes. And that includes seeing where AI fits into the grand scheme of things.
Makes sense. And within this dance room, we have the dancer, which is, well, us, right? Humanity.
Yeah. But not just humanity as like these passive bystanders just watching it all happen. The book really stresses that we're active participants in this whole dance.
We're not just along for the ride. We have a say in how it goes.
Exactly. We're shaping the steps, the rhythm, the direction of the entire dance. And this leads us to the third element, which is attitude.
Attitude. Okay, now it's getting really interesting.
Right. So the author argues that our mindset toward AI, like how we approach it, will actually determine the outcome of this dance.
So are we approaching it with fear and suspicion or with curiosity and openness?
Exactly. That's the key question. The book suggests that if we approach AI with fear, we're just going to create those dystopian futures we're afraid of.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. But if we cultivate a more, positive, collaborative attitude.
Who knows what's possible?
Exactly. It opens up a whole new realm of possibilities.
This is making me think about how often we limit ourselves by the stories we tell ourselves. Not just about AI, but about everything.
It's so true. Our beliefs shape our reality.
Yeah.
And with AI, those beliefs can either limit us or liberate us.
So we've got the dance room, the dancer, and attitude. What about the footsteps? How do those fit in?
That's where the rubber meets the road. Footsteps are all about action, the choices we make every single day, big or small.
Our actions shape the future of AI, even in small ways.
Totally. The book argues that even tiny decisions can have this ripple effect. It's not enough to just understand the big picture or even have the right attitude. We have to translate that into action.
Love that. So it's not just about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk.
100%. And finally, we've got the tango itself.
The ultimate dance.
Yeah, it's like the end goal.
Yeah.
And the author describes it as this state of total harmony, this true partnership where humans and AI are working together to create something really amazing.
Not a hostile takeover, but a beautiful collaborative dance.
Yes, that's the idea. So the book itself actually follows this structure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's divided into 5 parts: dance floor, dancer, attitude, footsteps, and of course, tango with AI.
Each part building on the last, taking us deeper into this dance between humanity and AI.
Exactly. And then there's this really cool section at the end called Addenda, soundtracks.
Soundtracks, I wonder what that's all about.
I know, it's super interesting. That's where the author gets really practical. They give all these examples, resources, even playlists.
I'm sold. Let's take a look.
Okay, so we've got this whole idea of a dance between humanity and AI. Now, I really want to unpack part 3 of the book, Attitude. Like, what are we supposed to actually do? What qualities does the author say we need to cultivate to approach AI and honestly life in general with this kind of positive mindset they're talking about?
Well, the book highlights two main things, presence and love.
Okay, hold on. Before you lose me, I know this can sound like kind of vague, like just these nice sounding words.
Yeah, I get it. Like just another self-help buzzword bingo card.
Exactly. But are they saying we all just need to be more present and loving? Like, is that the big secret?
Not exactly. The author actually dives way deeper. They're talking about presence and love as active practices, almost like skills we can develop.
Okay, so less about like a feeling and more about like something you actually work on.
Yeah, exactly. Because, think about it, in this world where we're just constantly bombarded by distractions and anxieties,
Oh, tell me about it.
being able to be present, like really bring your attention to the here and now, it's huge. And the author argues it's even more crucial when it comes to something as powerful as AI.
It's about being present, not just to the technology itself, but to the implications, right? Like thinking through the choices we're making about how we let it into our lives.
Exactly. We're not just passive consumers of AI. We're active participants in shaping it and how it impacts the world. And that requires awareness, that conscious engagement with the present moment.
And I can see how that ties into the whole footsteps element we talked about. If we're not present, if we're just reacting to things without thinking, then our footsteps could lead us down a path we don't actually want.
Right. And that's where love comes in.
Okay, I knew this was coming.
Okay.
Love, really, in the context of AI.
I know. It sounds a little strange at first. But again, the author isn't talking about romantic love or even emotional love necessarily. It's more about approaching AI and our interactions with it from a place of openness, curiosity, compassion.
So more than just a feeling.
Way more. It's a way of being in the world, choosing to see the best in ourselves and others, even in technology.
So approaching AI not with this sense of fear or like suspicion,
But with a sense of wonder, seeing its potential for good.
seeing it as a potential partner in creating a better future for everyone.
Exactly. But how do we do that? How do we actually cultivate these qualities of presence and love in a world that feels a lot of the time pretty overwhelming?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's not like suddenly everything's just going to be sunshine and roses just because we decide to be more present and loving.
Right. That's why the book gets into some specific practices and techniques.
Okay, so what, like meditation and stuff?
Well, they do talk about anchored breathing as a way to cultivate presence.
Anchored breathing, is that kind of like meditation?
It's similar, but it's more focused. It's about using your breath as an anchor to pull you back to the present moment.
So like if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, you can use your breath to kind of ground yourself.
Exactly. It could be a really helpful tool, especially when you're feeling pulled in a million directions, which, let's face it, is pretty much all the time these days.
Seriously. Okay, so we've got anchored breathing for presence. What about this love thing? How do we put that into practice?
Well, the book talks about respectful physical engagement, which is about using physical touch and connection to deepen our communication and build stronger relationships.
Respectful physical engagement. I'm not sure I'm following.
It's about remembering the importance of human connection, even as technology makes it easier to be physically distant from each other.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Like it's so easy to get sucked into our screens and forget to actually like interact with the people around us.
Exactly. And the author's point is that as technology keeps advancing, those real-life connections, the ones where we can look someone in the eye and feel their presence.
Those become even more important.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance,
Hmm.
embracing the possibilities of technology, but not losing sight of what makes us human in the first place.
That's a really important point, and it makes me think about how we communicate, not just with each other, but with AI too.
Communication in the age of AI is definitely a whole other conversation.
So we're talking about approaching AI with like openness and curiosity, but what about actual communication? I mean, it's not like we're having full-blown conversations with our AI assistants yet.
Not yet, you're right. But even now, the way we communicate with AI matters. It's like Every interaction we have, every question we ask, it all feeds into how AI sees the world and how it sees us.
So, like, if we're always just, like, barking orders or getting frustrated with our AI, are we kind of teaching it to be that way too?
It's possible.
Mm.
And that's where loving communication comes in.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that even though AI isn't sentient, like humans, the way we talk to it still shapes the relationship.
It sets the tone for how we coexist.
Exactly. And the book offers some really helpful tools for actually putting this into practice.
Hmm.
It brings up ideas like the 4 agreements.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's about being impeccable with your word and not taking things personally.
Right, and not making assumptions, always doing your best.
Which, when you think about it, totally applies to how we interact with AI, too.
Totally. What if we treated our AI interactions with that same kind of thoughtfulness? Instead of just, like you said, barking commands, what if we were more intentional, more respectful?
Yeah, it's almost like shifting away from that, like, master-servant dynamic.
There's something more balanced, more collaborative.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that idea of the tango with AI, the ultimate goal of this dance.
Where we're not just using AI, but dancing with it
Working together as partners.
to create something new and amazing.
This has been honestly eye-opening. Dancing our way to human AI consciousness, everyone. Add it to your reading list.
You won't regret it. And as you dive in, here's a question from the book to keep in mind.
Oh, I love this part. Lay it on us.
The author asks, what will your footsteps look like, and how will you choose to relate to the AI that's becoming an integral part of our world?
That's a powerful question, and a good one for all of us to consider as we, continue this dance with AI. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into dancing our way to human AI consciousness. It's been a fascinating conversation, and we hope it sparks some of your own reflections about the future we're creating with AI. Until next time.